It is so great to have you on the show.
I'm Christina Chen.
And I'm Hualalai Chung, and I voice Moni in Moana 2. And you're watching The Whitney Reynolds Show.
Oh, Moni!
It's both of us, actually. Maui and me. It's part of a series.
Wow.
From the producer to the newest voiceover star, Moana 2 is making waves in the world of inclusion. And we wanted to hear all about it.
Probably the thing that made me tear up and cry the most was being able to see so many different elements of our culture being depicted in such a film, in such a way. You know, there's so many elements of Maui that I've known since I was a child, you know, that we've known about Maui's story, Maui and Polynesian culture. He's our superhero. You know, he was the superhero god of Hawaii and throughout different parts of the Pacific.
How did you accomplish taking such a great first and expanding it to a 2?
I mean, we're so lucky to be able to work with such amazing creatives at our studio. There was such a groundswell, honestly. Like, we had no idea that people would love this movie as much as they did. We always hoped for it, but there's such a deep, profound love within our studio for Moana, for these characters, and for this world. And it was really, honestly, a groundswell from the studio saying, what can we do? How can she actually be the wayfinder she wants to be? So in this one, she's 3 years older. She ventures out with a crew this time instead of the dead of night, and really trying to find that connection among the people of Oceania.
The people of Oceania. How special is it for you to see your heritage recognized on this kind of scale?
To see this come alive in such a film and be such a representation of who we are as Pacific Islanders, not just for myself, but for everybody, was probably the most honoring and just the most emotional moment for me.
And when you were growing up, did you see yourself represented in media?
So, I mean, I'm super lucky that I come from a family of performers. You know, my dad's an actor. My mom was Mrs. Hawaii.
I saw that. I'm like, you go,
yeah,
girl.
1997.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like the limelight was we were not ashamed of that, you know, growing up. But I gotta say, you know, like, we grew up without having a film like this, you know, and when Moana, the first film, came out in 2016, you know, we got that first glimpse of what it felt like to be represented.
Wow.
And I remember just, you know, aside from coming from a family of performers, you know, like, I grew up from a family that was very well indulging of Disney stuff.
Right.
You know, like, we were in parks every summer, and we had all the posters up on the wall and the music playing everywhere and so on and so forth. So I remember, like, growing up and walking down Main Street and just thinking, like, man, if there's ever an opportunity to pair up my culture with what Disney does for people, that'd be a dream come true.
Yeah.
So when we got the call, oh, I lost my mind.
Now, Christina, you've had shifts in your career. I love that I saw a financial analyst and then came over in 2010 to Disney. So for you, being on a project like this that is so inclusive, what do you hope the viewers walk away with?
I hope they walk away with this sense of community. I mean, that's what really the second film is about. And I feel so lucky that as I became a producer, I had a community around me of such amazing mentors. And so I really hope that when people leave the theater, not only are they enjoying the music and humming in their heads, but they go and watch it with their friends and family and leave with a sense of appreciation for who've come along with.
My nieces were actually born, my niece and nephew were born in Hawaii.
Oh, yeah.
And so I asked them to send me some questions that they wanted to ask you guys.
Yeah,
and so they wanted to know about what it was like growing up on the Big Island and what you're taking into the movie. Did you weigh in on some of the things that maybe was in the script saying, actually, it's supposed to be this way?
You know, so one of the things that I've been super lucky about is that we actually work with the Oceanic Cultural Trust under the direction of Kaliko Hurley, which combines all these different elements of all these different cultural consultants from all across the Pacific. So even before the film or any elements of the film even came to me, it wasn't so much reading things and being like, oh, that needs to be changed, but it was more so reading things and being like, oh, snap, they put that inside.
They
it.
got
Like,
that right.
That's so cool. Yeah, no, for real. I mean, and then even more so watching the film, you know, seeing from the very first film, you know, we saw, I'm an advocate for Polynesian tattooing. So to see that that was depicted in the film in the same exact way that I've gotten tattoos, I mean, that's why we do it, is to honor our ancestors, to honor our culture, and to carry those traditions into the future. And it's an incredible blessing on behalf of our community and for myself to see that Disney cares about all those types of things.
Oh, I love that. Okay, so my son, he always says I have a TV voice. So he's like, Mom, you're doing your TV voice. And then he says, you know, I have a normal voice. But do you have a voice that you had to put on for this? Because that's what my son wants to know. He actually asked, how do you speak in the real world? Well, I think I'm getting you in the real world right now. But give us your voice change.
I mean, I wouldn't say there's so much of a voice change. I mean, there's definitely a voice change that I would have depending on certain communities that I'm communicating with. So obviously, like if I'm talking to the masses, I try to put on my private school jacket and be a little bit more refined in the communication that I use. And then if I'm talking to some of my friends, then the pigeon comes out and I stay talking all like this all the time. And bro, don't do that. Like that's dumb. Like like all that kind.
I love it.
But I think regardless, the communication and everything that Moni brings to life in the film is really going to make a lot of Pacific Islander people proud, and a lot of people even outside the community proud.
Yeah, it's interesting because not everybody gets to work with Disney, you two. This is a big deal, and to have it come to fruition, when you watched it for the first time, what was that feeling?
Oh my gosh, I mean, it was unreal. Like, we've seen it through every single stage, and we're lucky to work with so many different departments, so we see so many aspects of it come together. But when we saw it after it was post-production, after it was the mix, it's incredible. Like, I'm just so incredibly proud that we all got to do this amazing thing together.
Yes, I love that. And one thing, talking about the music, I have been singing all morning long, like, if I could stand. I tell you, I can't wait to see what comes out in this film. So you're bringing even stronger music in.
Oh yeah, 1,000%. Like, we're so lucky to be able to work with Emily Bear and Abigail Barlow, Mark Mancino and Opatara from the first film too, to really have that beautiful marriage. But yeah, these songs are absolutely incredible. And he's in 2 of them too.
Wow, I love it. Rumor is that your character is a big storyteller and that he kind of brings that all together. What is, in a high level, the story you hope that people are really resonating with in this?
Oh, I mean, especially for my community, to go for it.
To go
That's
for it.
To go for it. You have a vision, you have a calling, you feel something in your heart, or even, on a spiritual or cultural level, you feel like your ancestors left you a journey to go on. Go for it. Your life is yours to live. Do it. Don't be afraid of being in a tiny state or being in a tiny island in the middle of the Pacific. We have technology now.
Yes, we
that
do.
makes things so much
Yes, we
easier.
do.
So go for it. Go for whatever your heart desires.